Hello and welcome to episode 146 of the Talking Wednesday podcast. James and Jack with you this week to bring you through all the Wednesday news as we usually do and the match stuff. There's not a lot of news. There's a couple of bits that are going to be really good to talk about today. There's also going to be a bit that we talk about in a Talking Wednesday extra for our middle tier members. So make sure middle tier. I hate saying that because it sounds weird, but
yeah,
there's three tiers basically. So second tier of membership gets access to Talking Wednesday extra. So make sure if you want to support us that way, you can do that below the video. There's the housekeeping. You can also leave us nice reviews, that sort of thing. Find us on all the podcast services as you usually would. But before we start talking Sheffield Wednesday, how's your week been, Jack?
Oh, well, it's my penultimate week at work, and they've definitely acted accordingly. A few of the people there, it's really weird. There's like, you get the evening shift and then you get the morning shift, and the morning shift people are the ones that have not been as graceful towards me as the evening shift people, which I've been mainly working with. And I mean, I have handed my notice in to be leaving them the week before Christmas anyway, so that won't exactly go down well in a retail world. But that's just all fun. You know what? It was a short term.
It was the best time for you and the worst time for them.
Yeah, it was a short-term thing to get this camera and a couple of other things that I really needed, and it's not my long-term career goal, so it served its purpose really. So I'm feeling whatever about it, and then I've also spent the weekend at the time of recording, the weekend just gone, very hungover because it was my cricket club's Christmas social event, known as the 12 Pubs of Christmas, where I had to down a pint of very strong real ale in every single pub in the city centre of Nottingham. So that was that. I cannot remember after 10 p.m. We started at 2 in the afternoon on Saturday, and didn't. Apparently, I got home at like midnight. Can't remember after about 10 p.m. So
just don't talk to anyone for about a year because you don't want to hear what you forgot.
No, exactly. And I'm sure many of you listening may also be familiar with the whole feeling of how the hell did I get home? How the hell do I still have my wallet and my phone? And
Yep. I've not done it for a long time purely because the last time I did it, I was like, I am not doing that again.
Nope.
Genuinely, like, I get fear just thinking about it, you know. So, but no, I've been social this weekend. I went to I went to a Christmas party. I did drink, but it's one of those things where I got a bit sleepy drinky. Do you know? Wait, sleepy drink. You know, did I say sleepy drinky?
Yeah, sleepy drinky.
Sleepy.
Ooh, drinky.
Sleepy drinking drunk is what I think I was trying to say there. We'll keep that in, even though I sound like an absolute melt. But it was nice. It was nice to socialise. I'm changing a lot of things after Christmas, so it was sort of like also a way to say bye to some people, even though I still see them occasionally. Sort of like closing one chapter before I move on to another. It was sort of like a work thing. I kind of have a policy that I'm quite careful with anybody I work with.
Yeah.
With the social side and the drink side, because it's just it can get awkward, especially when you're like, when I start drinking, I can get quite energetic, and but then I can quickly just fall asleep. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I'm a very different type of social drinker now, and I think you learn that in your early 20s. You know, you're like, no, I can't do that anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. It's actually not. It's not can't do that anymore. It's I don't want to do that anymore. And that's been the thing. But no, that was nice. I like leaving nights where you don't wake up with massive anxiety. I've always got an element of it, no matter even how good a night's gone, I think. But you wake up and you're like,
oh, what did I do and say? Oh boy, did I? Oh dear, yeah.
I can imagine yours was quite strong, actually, knowing you.
Yeah, it was. It's that thing where you get like really hyper vivid images of moments.
Yeah. Oh, that's.
But then there's no link. I just punched my microphone. Sorry. But then there's like no link from moment to moment. It's just like 2 seconds of Oh, I was looking at the big Christmas market. Oh, suddenly I'm in like a sports bar. Oh, suddenly I'm talking to this person that I've never met before in my life. Like,
do you know when you think about it? Do you know I think about that and I genuinely feel sick after the fact?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Where
Yes.
you're like, no, because it's just a case of it's so scary how you think that like in the moment you actually are in control of it, but the fact that you can't remember it afterwards is concerning.
Exactly.
So basically, younger people that listen to this podcast, there should be no kids that listen to this podcast. I will clarify that all the time, but young adults listen to this podcast who are still in their drink. Drink with people you trust.
Yes.
Drink with people that won't hold it against you. Drink with people that you can be silly with.
Exactly.
Because the chances are you will be. And you know this world, you can't do anything without ending up on somebody like, oh, my mate's
getting...
You know, camera phones were the worst things that were ever invented for people who just wanted a nice night out. Just because getting a bit silly with your mates on the dance floor. And then there's always that one mate who wants to film you.
Exactly.
You're like,
stop,
you're not my
please.
mate anymore.
do not hold me accountable for my terrible dad dancing, please, dear God. You know, it's...
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yes, no, it's...
yes, no.
It's been nice.
I love that phrasing.
Yeah.
Yes, no.
Yeah.
It's a great...
I do that a lot.
You do that a lot. I've noticed
unfortunately.
that. It's one of James's traits.
Unfortunately.
That's another thing. There's Jake with the whole, when he says superb, take a drink. Now, whenever James says yes, no, now you also have to take a drink at those occasions.
Jake made the bingo card last week, by the way.
Yes, he did.
I forgot to. I forgot to actually bring it out. I was going to read it out. I've not actually prepped it, but
God,
he definitely because we were talking about the bingo card of things that you say on this podcast. Jake actually made one. But
yes, and sent it to us too privately, and was.
We'll also bring updates on Jake when we are in a position to do so. But yeah, everything seems okay.
Yes.
So, but we were. It's not my place to say anything on anything. So,
for God's sake, Jake, why did you decide to have a baby? Like, why? You've got one. Why do you need another one? I'm kidding. Yes,
I wouldn't say that because you can imagine he's probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah. And it's the fact that his two children might have the same birthday, or it might even be a Christmas Eve baby. Some people are still saying that to him to wind him up. You know, that it's going to be a Christmas Eve baby. Good luck, Jake.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh.
But there we are. These are the consequences of our actions.
Exactly.
No, much love to Jake, as always.
Yes.
There. And we will still be doing a Christmas special. He might just be covered in sick and have not slept. So, either way, we'll be getting him on that at some point.
I mean, that's normal for him, though, isn't it? Covered in sick and barely slept. Bless him.
Hang on, are you mocking him there, or were you just trying to make a comment? Because I think that might be on the borderline of that's a bit harsh.
Well, it's just banter between friends. He does that. You should. Some of the things
we'll find out when you get. I'll leave it in, and we'll find out we'll find out if you get a message later.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So have fun with that. Yes, let's get into the Sheffield Wednesday stuff.
Yes.
A bit earlier than usual. So there's been one game since we last spoke, and that has been Sheffield Wednesday versus Stoke. Talk us through this.
Oh, it was absolute match of the century. You could not imagine a better match to have been borne witness to than the El Crapico of Stoke City versus Sheffield Wednesday. It was just such a bitty game. There was no quality other than the final 10 seconds. Like John Pearson said on commentary during the game, after looking at the highlights back as well, he basically just said there was just 10 seconds at the very end of the game where Masaba gets through on goal and slots home the winner in the extra time. And a very controversial penalty decision, by the way, that I'm sure
that was ridiculous. Yeah, we'll talk about it now because there's only been a couple of key talking points. As you said,
literally it was that.
It was a game. I wouldn't say it wasn't like. I wouldn't say Wednesday weren't up for it sort of thing. I wouldn't say it's that sort of performance at all. I think Wednesday, we've seen it under Danny Rull. It's for me. It's that you keep going till the final whistle, which is exactly what happened. But
exactly,
Stoke's. It's the cliche, isn't it? You never really want to go to Stoke. It's a hard game. Alex Neil's sides are usually, it's quite tricky in certain aspects. He's obviously been sacked after this result as well. So
imagine that. We're now the teams that get managers sacked. That's us now.
Yeah.
You get beaten by Sheffield Wednesday, your manager gets sacked.
So, we lost the bottom of the table. We're not bottom of the table anymore.
Not bottom of the table anymore, no.
23rd!
Come on!
Goal difference.
On the way up. 17 points off the playoffs. Come on!
That's exactly what I was about to say. 17 points off the playoffs.
I'm delusional, by the way.
So now we need to come up with a title for this episode. Will it be 17 points off the playoffs or 23rd placed Owls?
I think it's 17 points off the playoffs. I think that's just really funny.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll carry on talking about the game.
Yes,
the penalty, it was absolutely atrocious because he just falls over. Minimal contact. It's never a penalty. There's a wall of people between the ref and the decision. And he bottles it and gives it. And it's just one of those situations you look at the players and that could have very easily been a situation where Wednesday don't get any points because we then don't have the same after the heads might go down for 5 minutes or whatever happens, and we might not get the same look at the end of the game because Stoke play a different way once they've gone a goal up through a penalty. So that could have very much cost us, but it didn't because of Cameron Dawson, the man I will say we were speaking about a couple of weeks ago. Is it? As I said, it's not working at the minute. A lot's not working. And do you bring him out of the firing line again? And maybe he gets one more chance down the line. Is this the time where you have to sell him for the good of him? But the manager's stuck with him. And he's showing now that the faith can be repaid because he saves the penalty. And then obviously Bannon does a great clearance to actually make sure the rebound doesn't go in. So thoughts on Cameron Dawson is something to talk about, I guess, since the past couple of weeks in the past few fixtures.
It was actually really interesting hearing Danny Rill at the end of, like in his post-match interview or whatever, when he was talking about Cameron Dawson, saying that he's been having a lot of issues with shot stopping over the past couple of months and stuff like that. And so he was saying he's really proud of Cameron for pulling off that penalty save, and it shows that he's been working hard and everything at improving his game even more. And I just couldn't be happier, really, because I know he's had a lot of naysayers as well over the last sort of, especially under Cisco. He had a lot of naysayers.
I think a lot of it was. I think he might even say this rightful criticism in areas.
Yeah,
which is because criticism is fine, abuse is not.
Exactly.
But we were criticising at a point because there is stuff he should have done better with. And that's just the way of saying it. There is certain moments where we've also said the other side of, actually, I think it's a bit unfair there because there was defenders that should be doing the job. So we've said that there, but we've also pointed out where he could have done better and should have done better. And he'll see that as somebody who wants to do better. And that's when I guess you could turn around and go, when he actually improves and he has games like he's had the past couple of games, he becomes that player that has redeemed it and it feels a lot better, Yeah. And I just hope it continues. I think everything is going the right way under Danny Rill at the minute. And it just shows the way the ball falls. Great defensive header from the Stoke City player, by the way. Great at practically setting up for a key area pass for us to go on the counter. We'd be fuming if that happened. But brought the ball down, and then just the pace from Musaba to go round and then cool as you like,
just
slots it away on the counter. Yeah. And that's what you need, the composure in that. At that time of the game, you're in added time, it's going to be the winner most likely. But you've got the composure, you don't bottle it, and he finishes it. And I will say for all the way since the start of the season under Cisco, he's the one player we signed where I was like really excited to see what that guy does.
Absolutely.
And the composure in that to get Wednesday 3 points is massive. And you could see what it meant to the team. You could see what it meant to the management. And I will, with the quality of the league this year at the bottom, I was determined to say, I was pretty much destined, to say we were getting relegated. And I'm not getting ahead of myself, but the points that we have picked up and the way that we are starting to get that mentality of no, we're going to keep fighting and we're going to keep improving. If the other teams slip, they're in trouble.
Exactly.
In my opinion. That's the thing now, that you've got to watch out for us because we are improving. The one thing is QPR are also improving. They're 3 straight wins. So that's where you go, And we've got to play QPR next weekend. We've got 2 big games. They're going to be tough coming up. The big games we've got coming up this week, with Norwich and QPR, which we'll talk about later. But
yeah,
that is going to be quite rough, potentially.
Well,
but let's
nothing worthwhile's ever easy, and staying in the league. I mean, I don't know why we're talking about relegation, James. We're 17 points off the playoffs. Why are we bringing the R word into this?
Well, we said 15. We were saying 15 points, and I think it keeps us in it, right?
Yeah.
Out of those fixtures since we said that, I can't believe this, actually. So, I thought we'd get 3 points at Birmingham. We didn't. I think we said this after the Millwall game. Me and Jake, on that episode, it was the Millwall game where we get done 4-0. And I said, right, what do you see up until Christmas? And I said, we need 15 points to keep us in it.
Yeah.
We've played 4 games, right? We've got 7 points.
Well, there we go.
So,
are you too psychic?
But we don't know yet because there's still because we
Yes.
thought we'd pick something up at QPR as well. But
yeah. I still think we can. I also think Norwich are not exactly on a great run of form, or they're not on as solid this year as they have been in previous years. I mean, as well, just look at their ownership situation.
If you go off what we said, that we need 15 points to keep us within this, we have now got to find. It's still, there's still points that we need to find. We need to find 8 points.
Yeah.
But it's now 8 points in 5 matches.
Which I think is achievable. I definitely think that's achievable.
I think it is now. Yeah. The fixtures are Norwich City, QPR, Cardiff, Coventry and Preston. They're not easy fixtures. But
Coventry and Preston are probably ones I'm worried about, I would say, if I were to say the danger fixtures in the next set of games. They're the ones I'm least expecting points from, I would say. Maybe. But especially Coventry, because they've looked
it's still going to be... I actually, if I'm realistic, I would probably say you're looking at 8 points.
Yeah.
I would probably say, if I'm trying to be the realist and not going off the momentum we're building, probably 6. I could see 6 quite easily. 8 might be a stretch.
Yeah.
Because... So we might end up with sort of 13 points rather than the 15. But with the way Huddersfield are drawing and doing the Darren Moore draws, right? We are now only 8 points off safety. So that 8 points thing comes into it quite significantly now.
Yeah.
But if we are if we can actually get that gap to something like 5, 6, could be even 3 points by Christmas, that's completely different. Then yes, we are in with it. Because my thought was that the teams above that would start to climb.
Yeah.
They would if we picked up the pace, they would get points as well around it. But what we've seen is Stoke have just sacked their manager, so they will probably change fortune slightly, but they had draw, loss. They've just plummeted.
Yeah.
So they're going to get dragged into it.
Mm-hmm.
Huddersfield are loss, draw, win, draw. So it's inconsistent from Huddersfield. And then you've got, I think Millwall will come good, but their form recently hasn't been great. Last 5 games, win, loss, draw, loss.
Yeah.
Plymouth, loss, win, loss. So they're not even drawing games. They're picking up their points from their wins and not. There's so many teams around that 21, 22 points that could get dragged in while we're improving. And I know we've had a loss, draw, win, but this consistency in the last 3 games, it's almost as if something is clicking.
Also, I can't wait to get so many pelters in the comment section because of me saying, yes, 17 points off the playoffs. I've got a very dry, sarcastic sense of humour, guys. Just putting that out there. I'm not realistically thinking, yes, playoffs. It's a joke. I just thought I needed to preface that, okay? Just because sometimes
do you worry though QPR improving though?
Pelters for it. So
do you think like QPR improving and stuff like that? We've got to watch out for that because they obviously are the team that we thought we were gonna.
I think us and them are probably the dark horses now. That a lot may be expecting one version of both us and them to turn up, and then they get faced with a totally different ball game. And I think that's the same. You know, the same can be said for us under Danny Rill, as well as for QPR. I think they're the other dark horse now that probably will get underestimated quite a lot in fixtures. And I think we need to be very careful when we do play them because we need to make sure that we take the same mentality into that game as we did against Stoke, basically. Fight to the very end.
Yeah, I think
don't give.
I think that's going to be the case, isn't it? And we will go in. Actually, we will do the roundup. So the fixtures have gone as follows because I think I forgot with you on last week to do the championship review. It's the first time I forgot that in quite some time. Where we go around all the matches. Oh no, I probably did. I probably do it on autopilot, to be fair.
Yeah.
But the most recent match day, why has it gone all the way back there? Hang on. That's why. Can't get the internet right. I was going to say can't get the staff. Can't get the staff either.
Yeah.
Decide to have children.
Hi, Jake.
Coventry 2, Birmingham 0. I've been working literally non-stop this week, otherwise I would be a little bit more organised myself. So that's on me, to be fair. Coventry 2, Birmingham 0. Blackburn 0, Leeds United 2. Sunderland 2, West Brom 1. Cardiff 1, Millwall 0. So Cardiff, another team that we're going to be playing, getting a win against Millwall. Huddersfield 1, Bristol City 1. Watford 1, Southampton 1. Stoke City 0, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Norwich 0, Preston 0. Leicester City 4, Plymouth 0. Middlesbrough 0, Ipswich 2. QPR 2, Hull 0. Rotherham 1 with the red card. Swansea 2. So that leaves Leicester City at the top of the table on 49 points. Jesus, what a return. What a return for Leicester there. It's almost as if parachute payments don't offset anything whatsoever, do they?
Oh, yeah.
In fairness, though, I don't really mind Leicester as a club. So
yeah,
I've got no problem.
I really like Leicester.
In terms
I like
of
Leicester.
Yeah. So in terms of... and obviously Vardy plays for them, so I'm not going to say too much. I do think we need to look at the structure because it's very unbalanced, but they're a team that I could see back in the Premier League, so it's fair enough. Ipswich though, showing that you can do it with coming up from League One. Yes, they've spent a lot of money, but they're putting it down now, and Ipswich are in second with 48 points. They have opened up a 7-point gap between them and Leeds in second. They're pulling away as the top two, Leicester and Ipswich, because Leeds are in third with 41 points. Southampton are fourth with 38 points. West Brom are fifth with 32 points. Sunderland, that's how you go up and you start, building.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done. They're around the playoffs. They are sixth with 30 points, joint with Cardiff. And we're playing Cardiff soon. That's the worrying thing.
Yes.
Then you've got Hull in eighth on 30 points as well. Preston in ninth on 29 points. The reason I'm reading these out is because listen to how close these points are. Watford in 10th with 28. Blackburn in 11th with 28. Middlesbrough in 12th with 27th. Remember, Middlesbrough were down with us not too long ago.
Yeah.
Norwich also on 27 points in 13th. Bristol City 26 points 14th. Coventry 25 points 15th. Swansea 24 points 16th. Birmingham 23 points 17th. Plymouth 22 points. We're literally going down a point.
Yeah.
18th. Millwall 19th with 21 points. Millwall, Stoke, Huddersfield 19th, 20th, 21st are all on 21 points. Then you've got QPR on 19 points. They're going to be pushing out of that. And the next drop comes to us, but we've got that momentum. We're building that momentum now, and we no longer have the worst goal difference in the league, which is nice. So we're on 13 points. So we've got that, we've got that gap still to work on. But 6 points between us and QPR, which wouldn't help us anyway. It's all about that 8-point gap.
Yep.
You plug that 8-point gap, and it can be done before Christmas. We could carry on this run. I'm not optimistic about us carrying on this run. I just want us to make sure when the next loss does come, we don't take it too hard. We just reset. Yeah, that's the big thing. Because it's not the easiest thing though. This league is not easy, so we are going to lose again. But we just need to make sure that we keep the feeling we've got now and the belief that we can sort of fight through it, because it's going to be a rough season either way. But the belief is slightly coming back at least this week.
And I do love that even though Danny Röhl had a fair few losses at the beginning of his tenure, the fan base seems so unanimously fully behind him. No matter what happens, there's such a strong belief in the manager that I've not seen for I can't even remember the last manager that I'd probably say that about to do with the Wednesday fan base. There's always been a percentage that have been, no, he's not good enough, get rid of him, even when it was Carlos and we would get into the playoffs to go potentially to the Premier League. There was still a big chunk of the fan base that was saying, maybe not the right person and all that sort of thing. But for Danny Röhl, it's just so even though we're sat near the bottom of the table, it's there
was a few people starting though, Jack. That's the thing. That is the thing with our fan base in areas. There were a few people going, well, he's a nice bloke. He's doing really, really. He's brought. You can see improvement, but results don't lie. And I'm like, well, yeah, they do.
They clearly, yes, clearly they weren't watching the games. If that's what their points of argument were, they were not actually watching the games. They were just looking at the results on Google or BBC Sport or wherever else you can find your text-based commentary of the games.
I watched us play half decent once under Xisco, and it's when we lost to Southampton.
Yep. And after that, it just fell off a cliff.
Even the draw with Leeds was atrocious.
Yeah.
So it's the best performance I saw under them was the Southampton game, probably.
Yep.
Because I saw passages of play that were okay. Whereas as soon as Danny Röhl came in, you saw things building.
Exactly.
And you could also see that it was oppressive because we got the draw against Huddersfield with Neil Thompson in charge.
Yeah.
So
must have been a tactical issue on the part of the manager at that point. Then clearly it was an issue with that position, not the players.
How many
themselves.
games did he have? Did he have 11 games in the
I think it was about 11 or 12.
33 points, 33 or whatever.
Literally. Where could we have been?
Available.
And it's the fact as well that the team is playing like they are right now, and it's the same players that had the worst start in EFL club history. It's the same players.
You can also see. Actually, I think he's slightly more disadvantaged in certain areas because he's got some injured players that Xisco didn't have to deal with straight away. But I still think we need to add quality in areas. Now, one person, we'll go into the news now. This is a good segue, actually, that has been linked. I think was it? I don't know if it's a proper link. Dom Housen was talking about it on his Twitter.
Yeah,
Scott Hogan.
It also seems a bit like the agent of Scott Hogan. Let's get our name in the papers because to peddle our name around a little bit to see if there's a bit of an interest. Oh. That's the club that desperately needs a striker. Let's just say that we've got a link with Sheffield Wednesday because they're the ones that are being the most vocal about wanting a striker in January and all that sort of thing. Because if this is allegedly true, the alleged news that Chansiri's willing to spend 30 grand a week on a striker with the record that Scott Hogan has got in the last couple of seasons, I don't really know if that's a striker of a value of being paid £30,000 a week. I wouldn't say that those two figures match up all too well. So I just think it's agent talk in the papers, and a certain
it could very easily
papers.
be that situation.
Yeah,
but he's 31 years old, and for me is the exact opposite of what we need right now.
Exactly.
Nothing against him as a player.
Yeah,
but he's this type of player that Sheffield Wednesday would sign. He scored 1 goal this season. We don't want to sign these sort of players anymore. We need a striker that can score goals.
Exactly.
If we're going to bring in a striker, it's not going to be Scott Hogan because the wages are not going to be the cheapest. And I don't think he's going to score goals. If Danny Rule thinks he can get him to score goals, then I'll take it in that situation. If this is actually something that isn't the agent and Danny Rule thinks, you know what, that sort of player, he scored 10 goals in the Championship last season, he scored 10 goals in the season before in the Championship.
Yeah.
I reckon we can get him to score another 10 or a bit more and help me out in this squad. Then fair enough. But for me, 31 years old, again, he's an older striker that doesn't score enough for me to think he's going to be the Sheffield, Sheffield Wednesday striker that comes in and bumps up our numbers, really.
Exactly. I personally would think let's go for, say, a player in the under-21s of a Premier League side that's looking like, that's basically doing what Bailey was doing in our under-21s, scoring for fun. Like, let's get one of those players on loan, youthful energy, lots of hunger to make a name for themselves, all that sort of thing. Get someone like that in on loan or whatever, not a striker that's 31 years old and has barely scored in the last couple of years.
Or do you know what?
Appearances to goals ratio.
You should do a Blackpool, but for our level.
Yes.
So, and I know I'm using this name, and don't start throwing stuff at me. Jordan Rhodes signs for Blackpool on loan, drops a league, and shows that he can actually still score goals because he was not getting great. He was doing all right at Huddersfield, actually, but he wasn't. But you realising dropping a league, he could score a hatful more goals.
Yeah.
It's like, I reckon if you put Vardy in our side, he'd be great. Do you know what I mean? He's top end of the Championship.
Yeah.
Find somebody that's potentially not doing it in the Premier League at the minute, but can.
Can bang him in.
He's not maybe starting in the Premier League, but he's their second choice, but he's sick of being the second choice. So he's just going to go on loan for 6 months somewhere.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of players like that, and we might even do an episode on that sort of players, but you've got to start thinking, what can Wednesday do in these situations?
Well,
and I think it's that rather than bringing in somebody who's not scoring this season in the league we're bloody in.
Yeah. There is actually a player who we were linked with in the summer that never actually ended up coming to us, called Sam Surridge, and he's currently out in America in the MLS at Nashville, of all places. But he was banging them in for Forest on their promotion campaign last year. No, not last year, the year before. And he'd be ideal. So he's absolutely ideal for our situation. So let's try and convince Forest to bring him back and then send him on loan to us. Because why the hell would you want to play out in America when you're 25 years old?
Oh, yeah, no. They might sack Steve Cooper. I knew they weren't going to loan anyone up to us after Mike. But also, I will say he's played 8 times in the MLS and scored 2 goals, and it's the MLS, which is not good. It's all right, but you'd want to open that up a little bit more. And I'll be honest, you talk about him scoring for fun. I disagree. You want about their promotion season?
I believe so. Is this is this where I'm about to get embarrassed live on air I say live on air on a podcast?
I don't think you are, because to be fair, he didn't play a lot and his actual ratio was quite good.
Yes,
he scored 7 goals in 17 games, which actually is a really good ratio. But he hasn't had the consistency. So the season before that, he played 20 times and scored 2 goals. The season before that, he played 20 times and scored 4 goals. The best season was the 21-22 season, where he scored 7 goals in 17 appearances. But then for Forest in the Premier League, he scored 1 goal in 20 appearances. He's gone on loan to Nashville. Oh, actually, he's signed for Nashville.
Oh.
So,
well, there we go. Never mind. Forget all points that I've just said. It's pointless because he's in America permanently, and yeah.
Yeah, he's on a 3-year deal
Yeah.
in Nashville.
So it was a good talking
forget everything
point,
you just
guys,
said there.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Disregard
Especially
it.
when
Redact it. Let's strip it out. Yeah.
But to be fair,
said some sort of dumb suggestion. Yeah.
I'll give you some credit. It would have probably been a better shout than Scott Hogan at the minute.
Yeah,
because Scott Hogan, he's not doing well in the league we're currently in, and yes, it might be a thing. Again, I trust in Danny Rull. If he thinks it's going to work with his system, then do that. That is fine. But for me, I'd rather put Bailey up front and keep him up front.
Yeah.
In this situation. Moving on to Bailey.
Yes.
So, we've all wanted to see him commit his future to Wednesday. Joe Cram was reporting that Wednesday have put a contract in front of him. He tweets on December 9th, another tough game today and great night of learning for me. Sheffield Wednesday away fans were top. They defo got us over the line tonight with a class goal and a class penalty save. We're all Wednesday, aren't we? And as we had people going, sign it, sign it, sign it. He replied to a sign it tweet going, no one needs to worry, I'm not going anywhere. It will be sorted next week. And then he followed that with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 owls. I can count, right?
I think I'm trusting
yes,
your judgment.
11 owls. 11 owls.
He's signing an 11-year contract, guys. Come on. Yes.
Yeah, let's be that podcast.
Yeah.
He's this is what you almost as if, your young players actually show some pride for the club that they've come through the ranks at and actually treat the club with the respect it deserves and actually are excited to be at the club and think what they can do at the club rather than looking at pastures beyond. Mm-hmm. So if we find that he's signed a proper, it's also going to be beneficial for him. Obviously, the wages are probably going to be better. He's going to get more of he's going to get rewarded out of that as well. But he probably wouldn't be the same as if he was to time for a bigger club and then go through the loan system for the next few years. But I actually think this is a player that's got his head screwed on. I'm saying this now, sign the contract, Bailey. But he's got his head screwed on in the fact that he goes, actually, I back myself. Do you remember a long time ago when I was talking about the players that do this and go through the loan system? I think they get what they can get and they know that they're not going to get into that first team. They're either deluded signing for a club that's doing really well and think they're going to get into the first team, or they don't back themselves enough to see out their contract and earn one down the line with some other club. They think, if I don't go now, I'm never going to get that opportunity again. So I can understand why players do move there, but I think this is a lad that backs himself.
I do.
And I think he can.
I think so.
I think he knows if he signs a long-term contract, it's then on him to... He's either going to become Wednesday's player and shoot us up the leagues and help us, become what we were, or he's going to impress and he's actually going to get his club quite a lot of money when another club come in for him.
Yeah.
Which is almost what you should do.
Yeah. Oh my God. Really, James? That's what you should do with Academy products?
Because
no
this is
way.
this is the extension of what Chansiri needs to do then. We need to have the other side of it. And if he starts coming and scoring 20 goals a season for us and a Prem club coming to us and we don't get promoted in a couple of seasons, then we have to say, fair enough.
Yep.
If a club's going to give us can you imagine if he turns into like a £30 million prospect or something? You sell.
You
don't sell him for
fast,
$5 million.
That wipes away, that resets the FFP clock, so to speak. Because that's the amount you're allowed to lose per every 3 years or something. So you sell a player for that, it's wiped away. And there we go.
I mean, I wouldn't even be too mad if he had a release clause in for 15 million, because you can back yourself enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's a case of what I would be annoyed at. The one time I wouldn't want to sell him is if he's doing really well, and the problem for me would if it was like a less than 5 million release clause or something in there, then I'd be like, oh yeah, but that's sort of like you're not even really on a contract to any club with money for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'd be thinking there. And I'm not trying to put too much expectation on him, but I will say I've been impressed with what I've seen so far.
Oh,
so, keep his head down. Keep doing what he's doing. He's obvious. I think the thing is, you can see this from a fan's perspective. Something special will happen with this manager if we continue to go down the road with him and he gets backed properly.
Yeah.
Now, I think young players will also see that. They will catch on to that. And you've got somebody who has worked with so many good players. He's worked with one of the best strikers in the world. If Bailey wants to improve, keep working with a manager like Danny Röhl, who's worked with Lewandowski. So
yeah,
for me, it's there's so many options for him in terms of that, and his best option is to stay at Wednesday. And I think he's going, as we can see there, he wants to, and I think it will be sorted this week.
I agree.
Crossed.
I agree. I do agree.
But yes, it's so nice, isn't it? Do you remember the Sean Flair days and stuff and all of that? Just
I can't. And he called himself that, didn't he? If I remember rightly.
I think so. Allegedly.
Yeah.
I can't say he did because I can't remember exactly. But there was potentially a bit of that.
God. Yeah. And now where is he? League One Charlton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. A lot of promise in there in a mid-table League One side. There we go. Look how much flair you've got now when you didn't listen to your coaches and haha.
But on a positive note, this seems all right this time.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Signed the contract. Cool. There might be a slight awkward cut in the podcast there as Jack checks his dating profiles, I'm sure. But it's a case of I had to turn my light on because I was using natural light and then I forgot that the sun moves when you talk for a while. But there we are. Our next and sort of final news story is going to be that Sheffield Wednesday have postponed the sale of next season's season tickets when usually they would go on sale. Now, there is a lot of controversy around this. Speculation, is probably the better word. The speculation we're going to mainly talk about in Talking Wednesday Extra this week about just a little plug there. Talking Wednesday Extra.
Oh, what a tease!
Is it takeover talk again? Because that's one reason that things get suspended if it's takeover. So we will go into all the talk about if it's going down that route. But there could also be other things. Could it be, for example, Jack, they're trying to not have the backlash that will bring, the pricing? Because the one thing that has locked in with these season tickets is actually we're going to moan at the season tickets forever. For at least another 5 years or whatever. Because think about the people who bought the 5 years and the 10 years at a certain price. Yeah. He can't. I didn't even really, you don't even really clock this when you go. It's actually such a bad decision to do those because you can't lower them too much because otherwise the people that bought those season tickets are in trouble.
That gap, that difference gap, they'll be like, well, give me that back, please, because I paid.
Do you know how I deal with it? Do you know the best way to deal with it in my eyes is, and it's not probably the financial thing, but you know what? You've already dug a hole by giving those tickets out. The price difference, rather than refunding it, extend their season ticket either a season or 2 seasons to make up the difference.
Yep.
Because what you will do there is if you are thinking of that, and I don't think he's going to do it because he's talking, he won't lower prices. But if that was the situation and that was the reason for this, they're looking at planning, then you can actually bring the season tickets down to something where the fans aren't going to go, that's ridiculous. And appease the people who brought the long tickets by you giving them even more time. So
I just think it's a really strange thing though, because they were meant to be brought. The early bird is now the very late bird that's going to wake up one morning and all of its litter is gone. The mother bird is gone. It's not an early bird season ticket anymore. Not at all. It's very, very, very late. This was meant to be out for the build up to Christmas. So then you can say, here you go, person in my family or friend or whatever. Here's an early bird season ticket for next year, or the half season ticket prices and all that sort of thing. What? I don't understand why you're now delaying them after saying they will be out this week. If you're going to say they will be out by this certain time. Commit to that. Why the delays? I can't understand from a financial perspective. I don't get why there's these delays.
Do you know? There's also I don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna be about March. Do you know why? I actually think that. Do you know, if we're being realistic and we take away the takeover talk,
yeah,
we don't know what league we're going to be in, and you can't put early birds out for a ticket that might be the prices you have to charge in League One.
Well, here's an idea.
Even though we are on the momentum, you can't
put out League One prices, regardless of if we're in bloody the Championship or not.
It's almost as if that's the solution, isn't it, Jack?
How about that? I mean, our League One prices were pretty much mid-table Championship prices last season anyway. So, like, I'm
not disagreeing with you.
I just don't get it. Like, it's just chaos. It's constant chaos. We have these moments where we think, yes, we're finally on the right track. And then the administration of the club decides, oh, no, I want to be in the spotlight again. No, I want this to be in the spotlight. My camera froze, sorry. I want this to be in the spotlight again. I don't want all this positivity that's not about us, the administration. And I'm using that term because I don't want to get sued. But it's,
everything that we ever say is also alleged, by the way.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely everything.
It's almost like the administration hates the fact that positivity is not about them. It's about the team, and not about how the administration is guiding us to this beautiful, wonderful promised land of it was the administration that got us up last year. It wasn't the determination and willpower of all of those players. No, that was them, the administration. And
I actually enjoyed it. The thing is, though, I enjoyed it for Chancery at the time. I was like, you know what, fresh slate, and then all the stuff happened. So, Jack, something I don't really talk about on the podcast too much. There's going to be a march. I can't remember exactly when I think it's before the next game sort of thing. There's these protests in there. We don't really talk about it because it's fans against fans, and you can see there's dismay on both sides. And we've said that we don't think the ownership will be redeemable in certain areas. The kind of what he's done is what I said he should do. He should disappear, get the playing staff right, get the management right, get the team firing, and then disappear again.
Yes.
Done that. But there is still people who want to be vocal, and will never sit right with them now, and they want him gone. Which I fully understand in certain aspects as well. I've seen a lot of different arguments against it. Rather than us talk about it at length, I'm actually interested to know what our community thinks about the situation. I'd be interested to know if there's anybody that plans to be part of this or has been part of it or anything. Or I basically want to just weigh up where our community is on it.
Yeah.
Because we very much well know that not everybody in the community is going to like our podcast. They'll like some other people. They'll like to follow certain Twitter pages. They're even though we are all Wednesday, and that's the thing, which is why I never try and dig out other fans. I really do try to make it sound like we're not trying to ever patronise or be facetious towards other Sheffield Wednesday fans, because We're All Wednesday has actually meant something to me. It should, you know, it should actually mean something. There are still sort of like people with very different opinions, and you all come together for one cause. And that is obviously not what's happening with the protest. It's not everybody coming together for one cause, but I would be interested to know where our community sits on it. So please do use the comment section of this, or reach out to us on Twitter/X at Talking Wed about what you think to the situation at the minute. Because it would be interesting to know if you want us to talk about it more, or just cover it in normal news, which we've not done so far, really, because we didn't really know where it's at. We've read statements about meetings with the club or anything, but we've not... Basically, I've not got the validity on it like we would have a normal news story, so we don't put it in the news, you know. But it's also something that is relevant to Wednesday as it becomes more vocal. So we just really want to gauge what you think on it, so let us know about all of that. But yeah. Basically... Hopefully our community won't rip our heads off for an opinion either way, because that's not what Wednesday should be about, you know? But yes, Jack, I'm looking forward to talking to you about the potential takeover. I think there's a lot to look forward to. What might be tricky is the fact that Wednesday you've got a big week here. There will be a dexterity watch on Wednesday night because Sheffield Wednesday will be playing Norwich City.
Ooh.
So, are you working? Because you might be able to join for once.
Is this Thursday night, did you say?
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. Ooh, I might be joining in. Oh.
Ooh, wonderful. So Jack might even be in the chat. Jack, you've not been in the chat on a stream for a long time.
Because I've been working mostly evenings. That's the main thing. Yeah.
So yeah, Wednesday, 13th of December will be the next Dexterity Watch on the channel. So make sure you join us for that. Hopefully, obviously last time Wednesday got... I'm just saying the Dexterity Watch was the upturn of Wednesday's form. Sheffield Wednesday equalised against Leicester and then since then. So we will be live on this channel. So you join us there. But the match that we obviously won't be covering live, Saturday the 16th of December, Sheffield Wednesday play QPR. Now, usually we stop the podcast after this week. You know, we take sort of the 15th of December as a cut-off for Christmas. I might do one on Monday. I might have that as our last live one. I don't know who I'd do it with. I don't know if you're around. Jake's probably going to be very busy at that point. We'll see what happens. I am speaking to other people about coming and do guest appearances. It's just trying to sort a schedule that works with my work balance as well, because obviously I have to organise all of it. So, but if you're around, Jack, we've got 3 weeks of Jack. I wonder if people will be able to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Look, I'm aware I'm like Marmite. Some people love me. Some people wish that it wasn't me at all on the podcast. And I love
no
you
matter
both
what
for your
we
comments
do
on that. So
no matter what we do,
yes,
it's a case of somebody wants to say that they prefer somebody over somebody.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Which a lot of people forget is we are three mates, right? And we all want to contribute to this.
Exactly.
You know, so it's almost as if like, well, that you're slagging off my mate, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there we are. But yes, Norwich City. How are you feeling about this one on Wednesday night?
I'm optimistic because they've not exactly been on their same firing cylinders that they have been in previous seasons this year. It's actually been what a lot of people have kind of not really picked up on is the fact that they've had similar odd behavior from their administration too this year. And it's a bit chaotic over at that club. And as we know very well, chaos off the field often breeds a lack of success on the field from what we've been witnessing ourselves at Wednesday. And they're having a similar sort of situation over there. So I think it may not be a pretty game, but I believe it may be a similar sort of game to how Stoke has ended up playing out.
I think it'll be tough still. I think there is a chance we lose this one. I'm not going to lie. I'll go optimistic and say we could probably draw it, but we could even win it. You know, Wednesday are improving in that.
Yeah.
The last game out was a 0-0 draw at home against Preston. And then you had them beat Bristol City at Bristol City's ground. They lost to Watford the game before that, but it was 3-2. They beat QPR the week before that. They beat Cardiff before that, lost to Blackburn Rovers. This was before the international break. So basically, they've kind of started... They got battered before the last international break, basically. Leeds beat them, Middlesbrough beat them, Sunderland beat them, Blackburn Rovers beat them. Okay? Their last win before that was the 30th of October was woeful for them.
Yeah.
But November, they've started to pick it up because you start November with that 3-1 loss for Norwich, but... Then you get the win against Cardiff, the win against QPR, loss against Watford, but then the win against Bristol City and 0-0 against Preston. Wednesday could win this, but they have picked it up a little bit since then. They've got Wednesday and then Ipswich. My thought process is maybe they're looking ahead to Ipswich and thinking Wednesday's a given because people still are underestimating us.
Yeah.
Right? And if they do that, that's going to be where we can all of a sudden go, hang on. Because they are at home, mind. So we're going away. We've just shown what we can do on the road, and their away record is worse than their home record. So they do all right at home. They've got 16 points at home, as opposed to their 11 points away. So
yeah,
it's tricky. It's David Wagner side again as well, isn't it? So I forgot he was there.
It's the Battle of the Germans.
If there's any time we're going to do it, we'll do it now because they're better than they were, but they're still inconsistent.
Yeah.
But they might have more quality over the course of the game. So they definitely wouldn't only be 13th where they are right now.
Oh yeah,
but I think they would be definitely going into the Wednesday fixtures thinking they're going to win. But at the weekend, we obviously face QPR. This is one that I am more worried about, if I'm actually honest, because of their upturn of form. This is going to be a scrap.
Yes, I agree.
Because they have won their last 3 games. They have started to turn it round. They've got a new manager, obviously. And they are looking at doing what we're doing. They're trying to pull themselves out of it. And they are successfully looking to do so. They're in a better position to us as well because they're 4 points from safety at the minute. So they know how close they are to it. They could be out of the relegation zone by Christmas quite easily. They've got Plymouth in midweek, but then they've got us. They've got us at home, though. So there's home advantage there. I think this is one where a lot of people just need to get there and get behind the team. And it's probably a little bit early for a 6 points, but for Wednesday it probably is because the QPR are around us. Again, though, I don't think it matters in the case that I think other teams are going to get dragged into it with the form of the teams just above the relegation zone and how close it is. But QPR's the worrying one because of 2 teams that are finding their form again. It could be a bored draw. It could be one of those where we cancel each other out. The momentum's just hit.
Yeah.
But a lot of that could also be what happens in midweek. Does midweek change it a little bit? That could quite easily happen. What are you feeling for it? Do you think we'll do it? Do you think...
Honestly, I think you've actually ended up summarising exactly how I feel on that one.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry it's a really short answer to that question, but you've basically said exactly what I feel about QPR and facing them.
Enough.
That it's, yeah.
But yeah, well, with that then, 2 games to look forward to, a dexterity watch, so you'll see us midweek. But do you have anything to add, Jack, today before we finish?
Just echoing the messages from the beginning to Jake again, really. Just hopefully your baby is fine and stops being really stubborn and all that. Like,
you've said that so elegantly. Hopefully your baby is fine.
Yes.
There you go, Jake.
There you go.
No,
yeah. Yes, we miss you, and yes, hopefully you have a good Christmas.
Are you going to say it again?
I was going to say it again. But yeah.
So yeah, it might be me and Jack next week. It might be 3 weeks of this.
Yeah,
it might not be. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. We'll see.
But I've enjoyed today. I think we've got some good talking points. Next week will probably be the last one we actually record before the Christmas period because we usually stop earlier, as we said, but there will be a few bits. I'm gonna take some because I obviously have to do all the process. The reason we cut it off is basically because I don't have to edit and do all of that over the time as well. Because if it was just sitting down for an hour and chatting, then yeah, I'd do that. But I'm going to take some time over Christmas and New Year. Seeing some people, got some people coming around here, that sort of thing. So I think we're going to take that. But there will be content. There will be scheduled content for us. It means that this week's probably going to be quite a busy week, actually, of getting everything done and ready for all that. So you get content over the Christmas and it's not too affected. We usually manage it, don't we? So yeah. You've had a Christmas run with us now, though. You were here last year at Christmas.
Yeah.
So you know the process.
I'm actually a lot less... I'm just looking at the video feed of me. I'm a lot less fat than I was this time last Christmas, so that's nice.
You can't pull off the Santa thing anymore.
I just said the F-bomb, I'm sorry. FFS.
Oh.
Oh no.
Did you actually say the word?
I said the first half of the word.
Right, I'll have to make sure I just check that in the edit. But yes, thanks for that. That's more work to do. But take care, guys, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
Subscribe at the middle tier of Dexterity Box join members, and then you can see Talking Wednesday Extra. Yes, haha.
See you later.